I don't know. It's not my favorite.
Really? I have to
Well,
tell
I
you,
mean,
I love fall. It makes me so happy.
yeah, I like,
Especially living in Charleston when the summertime is like, I don't know, a gazillion degrees.
right.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Well,
now you're out of hurricane season mostly.
I mean, you're not really officially out of hurricane season until November, but we're pretty much out of hurricane season. I was looking at the hurricane app yesterday actually to see if there's anything um
Brewing.
yeah, like anything in the Atlantic, but I think the cold weather that we're getting just as a whole is probably helping because there's nothing. Well, that's not true. There's a tropical storm down that looks like it's probably going to hit. Looks like it's going to hit Mexico actually. It's just south of Cuba. And it actually looks like this big surprise. Looks like they don't know where it's going to go.
mhm.
Here's the spaghetti map.
Yeah. Yeah, and the spaghetti map is no, yeah, they don't know. It looks like it's heading for the Mexican peninsula, like right around Nicaragua, actually. But it also looks like it's got a turn in it, which could have it then kind of loop back up towards Cuba and then possibly across and out. But who knows? Who knows?
Straight to South Carolina, of course.
Don't say those things, Amy. Come
Well,
on.
I've seen it happen before.
Yeah, yeah. Listen,
And
me
I
too. That's
lived
why we
there.
don't say those things,
That's
Amy.
also why I don't live there anymore because my house was flooded by a storm in October 2815.
All right, definitely 2815. That's Matthew.
It
Is that Matthew?
it actually didn't hit it never came on land. It was like Uno or something. It was out in the ocean and it just stalled. And we had 28 inches of rain in 2 days. And my house was fine until the dam up by Columbia broke because I lived on the Ashley. When your neighborhood shows up on the news, it's never a good sign.
No, ow.
That is that Hurricane Patricia?
I don't even remember what it was called. It could have
Hmm,
been.
interesting. Well, yeah. Good times. Good times. All right, so why don't we dive in?
No, it was Joaquim. That one.
Joaquin?
Joaquin.
Joaquin? Is that what you're
Is
talking
that how
about?
you say it? Joaquin.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I like Joaquin better.
Joaquin, like Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin, yeah.
Yeah.
These letters that you don't pronounce like letters.
Let's start calling Joaquin Phoenix Joaquin though. We can start with that and then people can look back at the hurricane and
He
think
might
back.
have a whole new career.
Joaquin? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's awesome.
Like
Um,
quinoa.
so who has questions? What's going down?
I put a question in the chat and I sent it beforehand.
You guys want me to actually read the chats? Oh, gosh darn
Oh,
it.
sorry. I'll read it to you. My
No,
question
it's
today is about
fine.
emails inside of Obvio. Can we see who opened them up and clicked them? So I can see where it says, I sent the email out and 100 people saw it, and this many people clicked, but where do I see who those people are?
You can't.
Oh, that sucks. Okay.
Yeah,
So I
no,
should use my CRM.
that's what proper CRMs are for.
Yeah. And I do have a CRM, but I was recommended to use your emails instead because my CRM was coming back as spam.
Yeah, so here's what I'll tell you. I generally, when we have an event, I do use a little bit of both, but I send more emails from Obvio than I do from Keep, which is what we use.
Okay.
And I have much better deliverability from Obvio.
Okay.
And as a result, more people show up to stuff.
Right. Okay.
So whoever recommended that is probably not wrong, but there are some limitations. Um, some of the limitations include the fact that there aren't good stats, right? So we don't have good tracking. You can't tell who clicked, you can't tell who opened. You do have visibility into how many, but much like with stats in other platforms these days, I probably wouldn't trust it all that much either.
Okay.
Open rates across the board are generally unreliable at best. Click-through rates are a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Was that so? That was the only question, just whether or not it's possible.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let me go into moderation and see who else had questions.
One question I submitted there, you can delete about sponsors, but I have one other question.
I see, Muddy, you said at a recent event, a participant couldn't get into a breakout room. They kept getting kicked back to the main session and
Oh,
never
yeah, I
landed in the
submitted that
breakout.
one several days ago.
Yeah. Um,
And I think they
It sounds
said
to
they
me
were
like
on a browser.
Yeah, it sounds to me like they had joined through a browser. So generally speaking, very few people join through browsers with Obvio, mostly because we don't really want it to happen. But even though the option to join from browser is off, for some reason, and I'm not 100% sure why, Zoom still allows people to join from a browser if they like refresh the Zoom splash page a couple hundred times, sometimes just 2 or 3. And then all of a sudden the join from browser link appears and they can get in via the browser. But once they get in on a browser, there's a lot more limitations as to what they can do, which is part of the reason we don't really want people joining from browsers. So
And
it
what's
sounds to me
interesting
like
is
that's
they had the local desktop app.
just
So I
because
would
they
have
have the app doesn't mean they have to join through the app, right? So they may have the app installed, but they may not have seen the open
that
in
one little
application.
screen that
Yeah,
pops up.
exactly. They may
Yeah.
have clicked cancel on that, and now they're on the Zoom window, and then they clicked refresh, and then they see they joined from browser. Like, there's a bunch of steps they have to take in order to get there. But generally speaking, that usually coincides with somebody who's not being fantastic.
Because the breakout rooms were integral to that event, we just had them join from their phone and we could push their phone into the breakout room. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
uh,
You need help with a sponsor page. You
I
uploaded a
got that one
logo.
fixed. Yeah.
You have that one fixed?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
done? Okay, great. Form moderation. Is there a way to edit a response to correct a typo? No, there isn't. How can we filter questions based on tags because we want our VIPs to have high priority? Right now, the only way to do it would be to hide the form from non-VIPs or to have 2 different forms that show on the dashboard, one for VIPs, one for
Ah,
non-VIPs.
I like that idea. Because we want to give everyone the chance to submit questions, but
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the same form. You
yeah,
could
and the
potentially...
labels don't come through. It's just their name.
Correct. Yep.
Cool. Yeah,
But
good solution.
that would work around it anyway. Jeff, would you be able to add an organization field to marketplace ticket registrations. Okay, you mean like a company field, right? Like, so don't just, can you do that?
Yes.
Yeah. I think you would do that by adding a group at the ticket level. And that will,
Okay.
no, that may not work. Hold on, let me think. That
I tried a couple different things, but I didn't necessarily try group. But
yeah, no, the group that actually won't work. The group is,
It assigns them to a group.
yeah, that assigns the group. The current answer is no. Let me. Here's your phone number. Ticket is available for purchase if active. Yeah, we need to add a company name in order for that to happen. So let me just make note of that, because that's not a horrible idea. I could see you not being the only person who would like that. And then what would happen, Jeff, is it would show up as a group for attendees who registered in that way.
gotcha. Yeah, what we're struggling with is two things. So one, we are having some folks that are signing up that are just individuals and they're not part of an organization. It's going to be a wrong fit client versus a right fit. And the other thing is we have some folks that are asking if their organization has registered. And of course, we don't know. And sometimes they don't know the name of the person that would have registered on their behalf. And so we're not able to tell whether or not that organization is signed up or going to be present.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. Let me just write out the. It's a really. I don't want to lose this thought, so let me just write it out really quick. Similar to address fields, toggle on, then toggle for required. Resulting input should show up as a group at the attendee level. Same as, yeah. All right. Probably, I don't know what's going on with the Obvio team right now in terms of what they've got on the go, and we've got a few of them reassigned in this moment. So give us a week or so, Jeff, and I'll get that onto production for you.
Sounds good. Yeah, my thought in the meantime to help, because we've got registration going live, I think tomorrow morning, is to maybe try to do kind of a two-step registration process. In other words, I'd use the welcome email to just say, please confirm a few more details, and then that would send them to the login link. And then I would grab that data via a form. Does that sound like the kind of the quickest workaround for now?
It does, yeah. And what you could do is, I'm going from memory, but I believe if you don't turn on the thank you page, they automatically get redirected to the dashboard link, like to the login URL. And what you could do is you could structure the waiver step as a thank you page, disable the waiver itself unless you want them
Gotcha.
to, yeah, disable the waiver itself unless you actually want them to sign a waiver, which not the end of the world. But then put a form on there that has a required field that is company.
Okay.
And then that
I think
way,
that'll solve it.
yeah, exactly. And then that way, ideally, they'll see it right away. Like, you know, I would probably modify my button to be like register in brackets step 1 of 2. And then on the waiver step, I would make the button step 2 of 2, like complete my registration, step 2 of 2, something like that.
Sure.
And that would get you most of the way there.
Yeah, the only thing is we're using a pixel, Facebook pixel on the thank you page. So That might mess with that a little bit, but it's at least a workaround to.
I'm pretty sure that on scripts
Uh-huh.
you can add a Facebook pixel to the check-in waiver page.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That sounds like that might fix that. Yeah, my ads manager has been talking back and forth with Obvio developers. We've been having some Facebook pixel problems that are a little bit beyond my knowledge, but it is only firing a small percentage of the time for registrants.
And where do you currently have it?
It's currently, so we've got a lead one on the purchase page. That seems to be the one giving us the most trouble. And then there's one on the thank you page as well. So my understanding is he's catching who hits the purchase page for the purpose of retargeting, and then who actually completes the full registration and signs up.
Do we have, I mean, this feels like a question that I should actually know the answer to, but is there a content type that is script? Like how
HTML.
are you getting the script onto the purchase page?
We're just putting it in the header and the footer. I actually just popped it in myself with code.
Oh, that's right. We do allow you in page settings. You can put it in there.
Yes. Yep. So I just hopped into HTML real quick. I had it done in 2 minutes. It was real fast.
Huh. Yeah, that's intriguing. I actually don't know.
Grant
Well,
was involved with 1 or 2 of those emails, and then it got passed off to Michael, if I remember correctly.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't think they've resolved it. They've been working on it for about a week and a half, I think. So, yeah, not sure what would be the next step for that, but I'd love to try to get that resolved before our next event, just so he's got real-time stats and data.
Okay.
Sorry, bonus question. It's just top of mind while we were chatting.
No, you're good. You're good. I'll ask the question itself
Okay.
of the
Thank you.
team and see who's working on that. Who's working with Jeff on the Facebook pixel issue?
Yeah, and they'll actually be working with a guy by the name of Greg Tosi. I'm traveling, so I just said, hey, talk to Greg directly and kind of remove me from being middleman, because I was going to slow things down, if anything, on that.
Yep, no worries.
Okay.
I posted a question, so who knows? Maybe I'll get a response. And I'll see if I can figure out what's going on that front.
Sweet. Thanks, Blue.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, let me go back and see if there's any other questions. And if there aren't, then we'll head on over to just raised hands. Moderation. All right, done. Kat, I see your question. I'm not sure. I want to ensure that funnels we are creating for November's event is good to go for future events. In other words, you want a code box for the date, like you have for clients, where only the date would need to be updated automatically. Can you help me with that for my GHL funnels? So I'll be perfectly honest with you. I have not ever once logged into GHL's page builder. I've never once looked at it.
Okay.
That's not to say that somebody can't help you. And can you tell me one more time in your words what you're trying to do?
The same way that we can have a generic email, and then we have that box that says first name, last name, dear first name, last name, da 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 da. And every time, and cat, first name, da da da. I was trying to figure out that there must be a way that we could put date, like here's our funnel, here's our stuff, and just change the date instead of going back in every single one, because the emails are going to be the same. Because we want to do one and done kind of thing. We figure our November one's our trial one. We'll do another one December and just keep on hitting it, trying to build stuff to build our business. So that's what we're trying to do. And I just wanted to know, we're only changing the date. Can't we get a code box that just says a date and just change that? That's my question.
Yeah. So I can't speak for Go High Level,
Okay.
but my guess is it's one of those things that it sounds like it should be doable and easy to do, but is probably a lot more complicated than you think.
Okay.
Because I think what you're trying to say is like have somewhere in Go High Level where you say, this is the date of my event. And then as a result of putting that in one place, it changes the opt-in page, the thank you page, the confirmation email, and follow-up email sequences.
Yep.
Yeah. There may be a way to do it, but that's not something that you would store at the contact level. That's something that you have to store at like the account level. And I'm not sure if Go High Level has something where you can create an account level custom field and then have that be merged in on the page builder, on email sequences, and so on and so on. It sounds to me like probably not.
Okay.
But there's a chance.
Melissa's going to be having a meeting with them. And
Mhm.
so I'm going to just tell her it's not an Obvio thing. We need to ask them that. So not
Yeah,
a
and
problem.
I know that's not something you'd be able to do in Obvio either, right? There isn't a way to merge like the start date of the event into your dashboard, into your emails, and so on and so forth. That's not something that exists in Obvio either.
I just know around here, there are a lot of smart people that if there's a question, I know to ask here first before I go searching and wasting a lot of time, because a lot of times y'all tell me, oh, you should have caught, we could have helped you with that. And so I'm just clearing. What do
Yeah,
y'all
no,
say?
I
Go ask
love
them.
the
Go for
question
it.
because you're trying to say like, listen, when we go to and listen, if you get an answer, I would love to know because we just moved we just changed from TVE 10 to TVE 11,
Saw that,
and
yeah.
there's like 700 places that we have to change the dates.
Which is
Right?
stupid.
It's like every single sales page, every single upsell page, every single thank you page, every single custom page, right? So the pages that are for Leap members that are to register for in person, that has to be changed. Every single marketing email has to be changed. All of the different things that lead into it. Advent calendar needs to be changed. Summer school needs to be changed. The webinar needs to be changed. And for each of those, it's not just, oh, the webinar needs to be changed. It's the webinar sales page, the webinar upsell page, the webinar offer page, the webinar replay page, the webinar recap page, and then the 4 emails that are part of the webinar follow-up sequence. Like it literally has to be changed everywhere. So yeah, if you find a way to do it, come back and let us know because it's a pain in the effing ass.
May I share something with you? So I've been watching many videos about how to make sure our YouTube channel goes well. And just the last 2 days, Alex Hormuzel or whatever his name is from school
Yeah, sure.
put out a thing about, shorts, longs, all that kind of stuff. And he goes, actually, all of my stuff from now on is going to be live, live, live. And I was like, oh my God, Melissa. If we do go live, we don't have to edit. We don't have to do all this other kind of stuff. We can just do live because she and I can just talk about what we know. And so all my worries on editing for right now poofed out in the air because of him saying go live. And I was like,
Nice.
oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So So anything that can save us time, because our ultimate goal is to have time for family, time for doing what we need to do for the people who we love. So I appreciated that. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your
Yeah,
help.
no worries. Sorry, I didn't actually answer the question.
It's okay.
Juanita, I'm having a hard time understanding the user's view when there is an event and how to let participants into the main stage. Okay, so Juanita, trying to think of the easiest way to share this with you. So there is a couple of elements that are related to getting participants onto the main stage. Okay. Number one is getting your participants into Obvio, right? They have to be imported into Obvio in some way. Number two, getting your participants to log into your dashboard. Now, that can be done a couple different ways, but the easiest way that we tend to do it is by sending a magic link or the login URL to the participants so they can click on it and land on the dashboard and they're in. Okay. From there, you need a button on the dashboard. And this is where it gets a little more complicated, but it's not that hard. Once you get it, it's hard. It's very easy. Okay. So from the dashboard, the button needs to be pointed to what we call a Zoom area. And the Zoom area is, you can call it whatever you want, but let's pretend we have a Zoom area called main stage. When you're ready to let your participants into Zoom, you log into Obvio, you go to Zoom areas, and you launch Zoom from the main stage area. And from there, you open up the area. So I'm going to show you what that looks like for most of those. I'm just going to share my screen really quickly with you guys. You can see this, right? Okay, so so I'm going to go ahead and let's pretend that this is the event, because this is the event you guys are all coming to, right? So you have this join the Q&A call, which is a button on the dashboard. And if I click on the gear, you're going to see that down here, the destination is join area, and it's pointed to an area called main stage. You see that? So that's the attendees side. They're going to get on the dashboard, click this, and go into Zoom. But in order for them to actually get into Zoom, you have to open Zoom, right? Because otherwise they'll get an offline page. So you go down to Zoom areas, and you go into the main stage Zoom area. If you haven't created one, you would just click new area and call it whatever you want. Just leave the defaults as is. You don't have to change anything, okay? I would just leave the defaults. Unless you have a real reason for changing the defaults when you're creating a new area, don't change anything. Once you get into the main stage, there's a toggle here that is open area. Do that second, not first. You're gonna have down here something that says open rooms. So I'm going to create a new room here in my main stage area. Actually, I'm going to do it somewhere else just to not make my own life a little confusing. I'm going to go into this test area. I'm going to open the room by toggling it on. Once it toggles on, the button to start turns blue. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. That opens up a new window. I'm actually going to share my full screen, so my screen is going to be, it's going to be a little big. Apologies. So once you do this, you click Open Zoom, right? So I've clicked Start over here. I'm going to go ahead and click Open Zoom, right, to get into Zoom. And now Zoom launches, and I wind up in Zoom. So just to try and get rid of as many windows as possible. Oh, wonderful. These are the windows that I now have open. Okay, I've got my Zoom window right here, which is in the room, and I've got Obvio over here. And I would start personally by doing a couple things like unchecking the ability for people to unmute themselves and share docs and notes and all sorts of things. I really just turn everything off when we're launching a Zoom meeting, with the exception of start video and chat. And then once I'm ready and I'm in Zoom and I'm ready to go, I come back to Obvio and I click open area. And once I do that, now attendees can come in. Until I click open area, attendees will still get an offline page. But I like to prepare myself in Zoom and be ready to go before I open the floodgates, if you will. All right. So if our event, so this past weekend we hosted our own event. And we were scheduled to start and open Zoom rooms, and emails were scheduled to go out at 10:30 a.m. So we opened up Zoom at 10:15 with the area closed. We got all of our settings right. We started the music. We set up a countdown timer. We did everything that we wanted to do. We set the room for how we wanted attendees to experience it when they showed up. And then when we were ready, we clicked open area and attendees could start coming in. And that's how you do it. Cool?
Yes, very cool. That makes sense, because the piece that I was missing is the movement over to Zoom. I thought that I need to stay in Obvio. I never did see that other piece where I actually move over to Zoom. So yes, now it makes sense.
And you move to Zoom from within Obvio, right?
Yes.
Because you're still using Obvio's Zoom account, but you are still using Zoom. It's just you're not having to log into a different account or anything like that. Like this particular Zoom meeting that I'm in, I didn't have to log in. Like over here, I didn't have to log in. If I click on the little starry thing here, I'm in update test 1.
Okay.
If I open up the participants pane, I'm set up as the host. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm the only participant in there and I'm the host. So I have full control the same way I would if it was my own Zoom account or if I had logged in, but without the need to actually log in.
Okay. So when I have breakout rooms, am I doing that in the second window or in Obvio?
In Zoom. So you're doing that in Zoom. Yeah. Like anything that you're doing that would normally be a Zoom function, like muting people, right? Or asking them to turn on their video or chatting with them. All that takes place in Zoom.
Okay.
Okay. So, but they're all coming into Zoom through Obvio. You're coming in through the back end. They're coming in through the dashboard.
That makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Cat King. I want to have a link for my free webinars that do not need to go to a funnel so that they can go to a general dashboard. How do I get a link like that again? So you want to give people a link like whatever, www.catkingswebinar.com. And you want them to land on a dashboard and then go straight in? Is that what you're saying? You can unmute yourself. Oh, or did I?
No, sir.
No, you're good. Yeah.
So I know how to build a dashboard now. So I was going to build a dashboard just for our webinars with, of course, the same kind of links that I'm going to have on the YouTube channel to sign up for our 3-day event. So like I know how to go to live now and do it for Facebook, whatever like that. But I don't want to have a funnel to give them the link. I just want to give them the link. What I was told before, the back door, what I used for scholarships for people. So that link, because I was told how to do it one time and I don't remember how to do it. And I feel I just need to remember how to do it.
Sure.
They called it, I think Jason called it at the back door.
Yep. So what you do is you go to your event, you go to Zoom areas, You go to the room that you want to give a backdoor to, like the area you want to give a backdoor to.
Main stage.
And then you click on the room number that you want to give a backdoor to. So like room 1. And then this is going to be turned off, this enable direct room access. Turn that on. And that's going to show you a long, ugly link. You just copy that link. That's the one.
Thank you, sir.
Blue, I want to clarify the direct link. This is going to get them right into Zoom,
Mhm.
Kat. But if you want them to go to a dashboard,
Then you
not
would
get
go to
into Zoom
sign up.
before you're ready, then you'll want to use the sign up link.
Yeah. So thank you for that clarification, Muddy. So the other option under design, sign up.
Okay, before you explain, I wrote those notes. So can you go back and, because if that, the way Muddy's saying it, so I'm fix my notes. Event, Zoom areas, main stage, room 1, enable direct room. So where there do I not do that?
All of it.
Okay, start over. Okay, I'm cool. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
So
there's
sign up.
basically there's 2 ways to get people into a webinar through a backdoor. Okay. The word, when we say a backdoor link, like what Jason said, a backdoor link, that's what I shared with you. But
Okay.
if you're wanting them to go to a dashboard first
Yes.
and then click a button, that's the sign up page.
Sign up. Yes, sir.
So under design, there's an option called sign up.
Yes.
And by default, it's turned off.
Turn it on. Okay.
Turn it on. Yep. And honestly, it's probably styled already if you styled your login page, because it takes the same styling as your login page.
Okay.
What you can do is you can, up at the top right-hand corner, there's a little copy icon. If you press that button, it'll copy the link to your clipboard, and you'll be able to paste it into any document you want. And that's the sign up link. And it looks something like this. So for our dashboard here, it asks for first name, last name, and email address, and it says sign up/login. So rather than having just a name, like an email address and a password, like the login page does, because if I go to the login page, this is going to look nearly identical. Actually, sorry, I can't go to the login page because we have the login page for this event redirected to the sign up page. But if I were to be able to, it would look like this, which is, of course it's doing that, nearly identical. So anyway, the login page this is what it looks like. The sign up page looks the same. So hopefully that helps.
Will I be able, one has the email, the other one doesn't have the email. Will I be able to do the email one? I have to do the sign up one for
They
the
both
email.
both the sign up and the login ask for an email address. You're going to want to use the sign up page if it's people who are just coming there for the first time.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's go back to questions that you guys have. I think there's a few more from Kat. This is just a request to clean up our landing page for Obvio for several months. You've tried.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's just won't come off. I've tried. I went to the little chat thing. I reported it. It's still on there. I tried again. It's still on. It just bugs me. That's all.
What are we talking about? So where is it?
When, yeah, you'll see it.
What's your organization called?
Organizations,
Yeah.
Curiosity Cubed, the one I'm trying to get rid of. Yeah, that one. The one I'm trying to get rid of is edible gardening, because it's like I'm not doing that and it's just bugging me.
Oh, the organization Edible Gardening?
Yeah. And one of your chat people got it a long time ago and it's still there. And I saw it there today and it's like, oh, come on, that one. Just want it gone.
All right, should be gone.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
I think that's it.
And just refresh your main Obvio page and tell me if it actually is gone. Yeah, I still have it, but you know. It's funny. All right.
It's gone. Thank you, sir. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Let's see. Get back to forms. All right, and I think we just answered your other question. Amy Hayek. I'm actually going to skip Amy because she was here and I don't see her, so we'll wait for her to come back. Devin, what's your question? You can unmute yourself.
Hi, Blue.
Hey.
So I'm jumping in to learn Obvio, and I may be jumping the gun because I didn't look at the videos yet, but my understanding is that you can host your webinars on here and record them. You can videotape. I saw a YouTube that you're doing right now, and it goes directly to YouTube. I guess my point is I want to do as much as possible on Obvio. I purchased Kit, and I don't know how much of Kit I'll need to use and how much of Obvio to use. Like in email sequencing, those kind of things.
I would personally recommend you try to use Kit as much as possible, because Kit is going to be what you really want people to get used to receiving emails from. Okay. And then if you want, you can use, if you want, you can use Obvio for emails during events if you want to make sure that you get a slightly better deliverability rate on your emails. But if you don't start using Kit regularly, then there's a chance that if, you know, when you're trying to communicate with your audience for things that aren't event related, you have trouble. So if it were me, I would be trying to get them used to getting emails from Kit. Okay. What was the second part of that question, Devin?
Well, so I just want to make this as easy as possible for me. And so
can I tell you, in all honesty, I love Obvio. Okay, like I really clearly. Otherwise, we wouldn't continue to spend money on it, hosting it and developing it and allowing Leap users to use it and so on and so forth. If I didn't love the platform, we wouldn't use it because it's not cheap to run by any stretch of the imagination. If I didn't own Obvio, I would not use Obvio for my webinars. Okay. And the reason is I want to keep, for a webinar, I want my users to have as little friction as possible because it's a free thing. Okay. And from a strategy perspective, if there's any friction whatsoever as people are trying to get in, it's like you click a button and then you have to fill out a thing and then you have to click another button, but then that doesn't work and then you click another button and so on and so forth. For free things, especially like, and that's when I hear webinar, generally speaking, webinars are free. Not always, but most of the time. When I hear that, I think to myself, you want to give them as little friction as possible. Send them a Zoom link, get them into the webinar, be done, right? Like get them to opt in. Once they opt in, give them their Zoom link, let them straight in. Keep your technology as simple as possible for you, as simple as possible for them. Because Obvio adds a layer of complexity for you as the host, right? You have to build the dashboard. You have to make sure that your attendees get into Obvio. Then you have to make sure that you send them, every person, the magic link. And listen, it's not that hard once you know how to use it. But I use Obvio quite literally every single week for a client, right? So I set it up 50 to 60 times a year. And it's kind of like, for me, it's actually easier to set up an Obvio event than it is to set up a Zoom meeting because I just know how to do it. And I don't use, funny enough, I don't actually use Zoom meeting, like the Zoom meeting scheduler, all that often. So whenever I have to schedule a Zoom meeting, it actually takes me a few extra steps because I have to remember how to do it. But if I have to set up an Obvio event, even with a dashboard and put a logo on it and make it branded and so on and so forth, it takes me like minutes. It does not take me long to do, but I use it every day. I don't suspect you're going to be in that same boat, right? So keep your life as simple as possible. You save Obvio for the event when somebody has paid for it, and we need a reason to have a central point, right? And that reason could be downloadable resources. That reason could be I want to check them in and have like a face-to-face interaction and engagement and welcome people to the event. That reason could be I want to do an intake survey where I get 100% participation of my attendees rather than like 40% participation if I'm lucky. Like there's a bunch of reasons to use Obvio for your event. But when it comes to your free intake mechanism, right, your free list builder, the one reason, all of those reasons still apply to use Obvio, but the one that well, there are two that would have me in your shoes hesitate. It's funny, I'm trying to convince you to not use our own platform. But reason number one is I want it to be simple for you. And reason number two, I want it to be simple for your attendees so that neither of you struggle in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Nope. Thank you, Blue.
No problem. And with that being said, Devin, if you're like, you know what, Blue, I want to try it because, and this is not bad logic, what I'm about to say, you know, I want to try it out on my free webinar because if things don't go great, it's just a free webinar. But then at least I have a little bit of practice for my live event. Right. So you can use that logic as well and be like, you know, I just want to get used to using it. So the first time I'm using it isn't my live event. So it works both ways. But I would keep my life simple if I was you.
Got it.
Amy Hayek, I see you have 2 questions in Obvio, and I also see you're back.
They are the same.
They are the same.
They're the same question. What happened? It was a funny thing. I just left, went to a different computer, tried to log in, it won't let me. So I asked the question twice. I thought, oh, well, maybe they were done with the meeting already. So here I am back.
Okay, so the question is, once you have an attendee in one event, you would like to delete them from the other.
That would be it, yeah.
Okay. And just so that I have some context, what's the main reason why you want to delete them from Intro to Animal Chiropractic once they're in Mastermind?
Once they're in Mastermind, they have signed up for class. And so intro is the get them to sign up for class
I
event.
understand. And what's the reason to delete them? Is it just because you'd like it to be clean, or is there a functional reason, or is it just like I just want it to be pretty and having
Well,
attendees in there makes it ugly?
I don't want to be spamming them with emails, or don't want to have to.
Because you're sending your attendee emails through that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. So, and you're using Zapier?
Yeah. So we have a Zap that once they've registered for class, drops them into Mastermind.
I understand.
And we have a Zap that when they register for intro, drops them into intro.
I understand.
But I don't know how to make it delete them.
One second. I have to log into Zapier for a second. I haven't. We have gotten to a point where almost all of my clients, actually all of my clients, we have an integration for. So I use Zapier every day. I don't use it with Obvio very much anymore, oddly enough.
Okay.
But give me a second. Let me just take a quick look at something because I think I know how I would do this, but I want to make sure that I am telling you the right thing before I do. Yeah. Okay. So, this is how I would do it. So in the event that you have, or sorry, in the Zap that creates the attendee in Mastermind,
Uh-huh.
you're going to add a step.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what let's pretend that this is what it actually looks like. Okay. So it looks like your opt-in or your purchase of Mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one here is the create attendee in Mastermind, right?
Okay.
You're going to add a step like this. You're going to type in Obvio. You're going to select Obvio. And the action is going to be delete attendee. And then you're going to choose the intro to animal chiropractic event from the account area,
Okay.
right? So you click change and you would select the correct account that you actually want to delete them from.
Okay.
And then you're going to click continue. And under email, you're going to grab the email address from the first field like this
Mm-hmm.
and click continue and allow it to, you probably test it just to make sure it deletes them. And that's it. So what'll wind up happening in the Zap that creates attendees in the Mastermind event, you just add one extra step that deletes them from the intro to chiropractic.
Way easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
That's
it's not hard. It's not hard. There's a because of the fact that there's an action. I couldn't remember if there was a delete attendee action in Obvio, so I had to. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a piece of cake. Especially because you already have a Zap that's creating the attendee.
Right. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
All right. Jeff Veely, I see you have your hand raised. Is that a remnant or do you have a question?
I do have a question. I was wondering if you could just rattle off real quick the features that are in Enterprise that are not in Pro. I know it's like unlimited organizations and events, but I was just trying to think of some other techie kind of stuff beyond that that might be helpful.
Yep. So the main things that are in Enterprise that are not in Pro are going to be access to Zack tokens just through the application so that you can easily get into events that require that or meetings that require that through like liminal applications. There is a short link creation tool inside of Enterprise. So you know, if you want to give a backdoor link to somebody rather than it being that super long link, you can kind of like you would with Bitly, you can create a your
Okay.
domain like subdomain.obv.io/r/ some whatever you call it as a redirect tool. That redirect tool actually has some additional features in it because it was built for something specific, but it happens to get used in other ways. And the reason it was actually originally created is a client of ours wanted to be able to give out a short link in Zoom that didn't go to an Obvio page, but rather went to a ClickFunnels page. And when they landed on the ClickFunnels page, they wanted the person's first name, last name, and email address to be pre-filled. So when you're creating a redirect link, you have the ability to insert in the redirect link Obvio merge codes.
That's really
And
cool.
yeah, and then you can just put in, like in a Zoom chat, you can put just a simple redirect that is like tve10.obv.io/r/leap. And when they click on that, because we know they're already logged into Obvio because they're in Zoom, they get redirected to the Leap sales page, but with their contact information pre-filled. Yeah, so it is pretty neat. It's definitely one of those edge cases, though. Not a whole bunch of people use it, which is why it's buried in enterprise. The other thing that you have is access to area direct access links rather than just room direct access links. So one step up. And then there is the team access panel, which is really handy for larger events. And how the team access panel works is it allows you to create attendees with specific tags, and those tags make a panel appear. I'm just thinking. I'm trying to think of one that we have. Give me 1 second. Main Street Millionaire.
And while you're sharing that, Jeff, two of the other features that are useful is your capacity per event goes from 500 to 1,000 people included, and the price to add on additional attendees and add on additional Zoom rooms is 50% of the cost of the pro account. So if you have big events where you need to add on people, that can make a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, we're also we're discussing right now actually increasing the enterprise limit as well for attendees. That hasn't been done yet, but it is in active conversation. I'm trying to find, and unfortunately I'm not succeeding, bm@poweredbysage.com. I'm looking for an example of one of these. The panels are actually really handy for team access because what it does, Jeff, for me, it allows us to get team members into Zoom as co-hosts without having to give them access to Obvio. So
that's really nice.
It really is and again, it's one of those, like, it's only handy for like larger events. But it is handy. And then you can also give them access. You can limit their access to what areas they have access to. So here, this is an example of one. So basically, when the customer or the attendee has the right tags, so they have to have a team tag. If you want them to be able to be co-hosts, they have to have team co-host, and then team, and then the first word of the Zoom area you want them to have access to. Or if you want them to have access to everything, I'm pretty sure it's team all gives them access to everything. But then from here, they have a drop down. They can click on, like right now, this one only has main stage. So I can click on main stage, And if the room was open, you would see two buttons here, one that's join as attendee and the other one that is join as co-host. And if you really want to get crazy, you can give somebody host capabilities, which very few people do. But what that does is it allows you to have a room that somebody could potentially actually open, because I can actually start the Zoom room from here and it will open the Zoom room and it will start the Zoom meeting. Oh, AAA, that makes sense. Access all areas. That makes way more sense. It doesn't control access to the area itself, but where this can be handy, like we've had clients where there's somebody who wants to come in really early and do like a bonus Q&A session, but it's just one room. So rather than having to have like a team member who launches the meeting and so on and so forth, we just leave the area open and allow the user to be host and give them access to that one area. And they can literally come in, go to room one, click start Zoom meeting, and without having access to the Obvio backend, they now were able to launch their meeting and give attendees access to that one meeting. So it's kind of handy. Yeah, it works really well for client team meetings. Good call on that.
Yeah, I like that, Money. That's a great tip.
Yep. And then yeah, like Money said, there's the unlimited organizations, up to 25 active Zoom rooms simultaneously, and 1,000 instead of 500 attendees, and then the add-on price is halved. So $50 for 250 attendees, $50 for an additional Zoom room, rather than 100 for Pro.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. And something we do for Leap members, I think you probably know this, but if you are, you have to do the pay for the year, but we credit back $19.97. So it's not $5,000 or $4,997 or whatever, $4,997. It winds up being around $3,000.
I did not know that, and I paid for the year, so that's really good to know. That'll help.
Cool. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else buried in Enterprise. Is there, Muddy? I don't think so.
No, those are all the main ones. There may be one or two little things, but they're.
You know, the other thing that I actually think is buried in Enterprise is the image waterfall page. Does that exist in Pro?
No, that's in Pro.
Is it?
Pro. Yeah.
The one under production?
Yeah, I use it in Pro actually right now.
The one under production?
Yes.
Okay. Webhooks. That's the other thing.
Yeah, webhooks, right? Perform. So.
Yeah.
Can you run down just a quick use case of how you guys use webhooks? I know what they are. I'm just trying to get my wheels turning. Yeah,
so essentially what webhooks allow you to do is send webhooks to a custom destination based on specific actions. So on attendee creation, on attendee check-in, on waiver signed, you can send a webhook externally to a platform that isn't Zapier, to a platform that isn't any one of the service integrations. It's handy for people who are trying to create custom integrations for their own platforms. You know, we have some clients who are on Salesforce as an example. I have a client who's on Zoho that we don't have an integration for. And both
yeah, we are on Zoho as well, and that's
yeah.
one of the limitations right now.
Yeah, so webhooks. Yeah, for individual events, you'd be able to set up webhooks for like attendee action webhooks, button click webhooks, and then you can also send webhooks through Zoom attendance. So you can go into Zoom attendance post-event, do a search for whatever you want to do a search for, and then when you have webhooks set up, one of the actions that you can do for people who meet your search criteria in Zoom attendance is send a webhook. So those are the different ways that that webhooks can be used. But generally speaking, that again is for like folks with custom integrations or who have a platform that isn't supported by us natively, and that isn't likely to be. So both Salesforce and Zoho kind of fall into that just because they're so custom in terms of how they behave.
Yes, I love Zoho, but I've spent a small fortune over the last 12 years making it fit us.
Yeah. And that's the same thing is true with, with Salesforce, right? I mean, these are platforms that have tremendous flexibility, but as we kind of know inside of Obvio, the more flexibility you have, the more complication there is. So, we've looked into both Salesforce, although more Zoho, and we've looked into creating custom integrations or native integrations for Zoho, and every time we do, it just doesn't quite make sense, because we're not sure how different people use it, and we may build a native integration for you, or that works for your particular use case, but it doesn't work for 5 other people who use Zoho, which is frustrating.
I can easily see why that would be a problem, for sure.
Cool. All right, everybody. Any other questions before we wrap for the day? And I'm happy to continue answering questions, but I just don't see any others. So.
No, but thank you again to you and Barry for everything at TPE 10. It was life-changing. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy you came. It was great to have you there, Kat. All right. Well, guys, if you don't have any other questions, I'm going to give you the next 50 minutes of your life back and going to go write an email. Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome week. And of course, we'll be back next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk to y'all soon. Go pack chickens, Amy. Later.